just talk about, again, all the stuff you guys have been doing off the field, because you guys are obviously, I mean, the impact you had on the field was great, but off it as well, I'd say it's as great, if not even better.
Yeah, Preston and I, we created a company called Athletes and Artists, and pretty much it's it's just a thought label, like no different than like a record label. And what we try to do is create a bunch of really cool things, capture stories, curate stories. We did that with the Fight podcast, the 7-part series. Preston was a captain on that team. So we collected stories using Josh from The Athletic to kind of help us, be the Southern draw, genteel Southern voice for that. But backdrop it with a whole bunch of stories, the stories behind the stories, the fight, obviously the Malice in the Palace the night before, the impact of that, guys watching that in there, no social media, but word still getting out. Lou Holtz's last game, this introduced Steve Spurrier to South Carolina, and the tie-in between Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier being really good friends, cancer treatment with Miss Bev, Lou Holtz's wife. So just all the little things tied in there, Pastor Troy, the music of the day. I mean, just all the little nuance, and of course, the conversations of the locker room, what was said, what wasn't said before the game started to kind of make the fight kick off. But I mean, it was a powder keg. It was going to happen anyway. But we've been creating that. We've created the Butt and Gut series where, again, we're talking to Husky linemen. Like I said, I was 150 pounds in the 3rd grade. All these guys that we've been interviewing, they have similar stories where they've been, never wore child's clothes. They've always been wearing adult Husky clothes, and these guys grew up to be some of the largest humans. So now how are they tackling this and trying to be healthy afterwards? But our biggest thing, what we like to get out there, and like you said, on the backs of this, is with our 3 books, Just a Chicken, our first book, Just a Chicken Little, our 2nd book, and with our 3rd book that's coming out, Houston Was a Rooster. We just really love to get out there and be big proponents of literacy. We always get out there, like you said, we visited over 200 plus schools across South Carolina, all the way to Texas, preaching the touts of go pro and reading. Read, write, and speak is going to be your super power. That's going to be your skill. Anybody has the access to be a good writer, good reader, good speaker. We're not telling you what to read about, write about, speak about. That's your choice. But a lot of kids, as we know, and I was one of those kids, when you go into the schools, you ask them what they want to do. They think they're going to do something physical. They think they're going to play sports. And we tell them that's probably not going to be you. There's already been a Langston Moore. There's already been a Jadeveon Clowney. Connor Shard, he's gone. So maybe you might be good enough. But I'm going to tell you, it's a lot easier to read well, write well, and speak well. Don't be boring. Create some cool stuff like the Spurs Up Show or like Eric Kimry's podcast. Just really being creative, because there's so many different mediums and different ways to communicate to the world. And it's really apropos that, like Bobby Bowden passed away this week, and you think about all the stories and different things that have been lost. Now, those stories are still out there, but they're not in a singular place. And so without him around anymore, how are we going to tell these stories? And how are we going to hear about, Sebastian Janikowski and all these different, I mean, there's so many different things that football affords, and not just football, but it goes from high school to everything. I'm sure there's these same things. So that's what we really wanted to start out there to do. We tour around full time, and like we say, get out to the community, show kids writing and creating books is really more attainable for you than it is to try to be a 6'2", healthy enough, fast enough, strong enough. And oh, by the way, you got to like smell people's breath and touch people every day, man. That stuff ain't cool sometimes. Some days you be like, I don't want to touch nobody today. Did you see Aaron Donald fight somebody the other day? I'm just saying, sir, that could be part of your job. You wake up one morning, you got to fight Aaron Donald just to get through the day. So we always say there's an easier way, a softer way, and we love the idea that books can be that vehicle. Preston obviously was an educator for 10 plus years at Blythewood. My mother was an educator. I married a teacher. So education and all those things have always been kind of swirling around for us. It's been really cool for us to figure out a cool, unique way to share this message, because this is no different than a message you probably heard when you was a kid, a message I heard. But the biggest thing is for us, we're really living and showing kids that, man, you can still wear these Jordans and still come in here and talking about reading well, writing well, and speaking well. Matter of fact, if you get really good at these Jordans knowing the market, you can go out here and make way more money selling Jordans on the secondary market than we can ever playing football. Plus, you ain't got to worry about somebody telling you you're slow, you're fat. Nah, you can eat whatever you want. And so that's the cool thing. We're a big proponent of skills versus talents. Talents we have no control over. Skills, reading, writing, and speaking specifically, we can always get better at.